matchup for sure. I think this one, Coffee. So we're gonna have to keep our eyes peeled to see what
Indeed.
people and what heroes will be looking to do some flanks and cheeky little takes in the background. You know for a fact there's going to be a few of them.
I'm a little bit happier than I was the last game I was casting anyway, Marcus, because I've seen a glaive finally
First
in one of the
glaive
teams.
in a CBL tactic.
So I hope this glaive. I hope who is playing this glaive really shows how it's done.
I mean, he's got to be better than yourself, so we'll be all right with that. He is in a CBL team after all. We're sure he can use his glaive to his full potential. Obviously, the first part of the map.
Hopes.
You know how the map goes to start off with. It is all about using the artillery, the bombards, just to take out the artillery already built, which most of the time doesn't get it fired off anyway. As the defending side, they will all fall back to C, as you can see there. Hey, would you believe it?
I know what you're doing.
Well, we try sometimes.
So yeah, straight back to say there's no anything on A or B, which I'm still of the mindset of just take a trash unit and just buy even a minute or two on A and B, and then it's a minute or two less you've got to defend on the home base.
Yeah. Do you think, as in terms of that, oh, there we go. You got somebody die already. Was that a bombard that killed him? Maybe?
I'm not quite sure what that was, but he went down pretty quickly.
Very quickly there, very quickly. But yeah, the wall, the gate is down, so they'll take use of that, go straight in, grab the supply point, and grab the A point to get their points up, because there is nothing else to do. And you can see in the over onto your right hand side of the screen, there'll be B getting taken as well. You can see at the top of the map there, just above the screen, you'll see A and B both simultaneously capped, while the defending side of GumFaction are just sitting relaxed, waiting around to see what the plan is with NoBeaches for their attack going forward. You can see in the back there as well, there is already some cav out in the background, FC, in the C point here, just sitting there waiting in the back. So I wonder if they're looking to do something cheeky with them as well.
So NoBeaches they're kind of having a little scout around the back there. I think they've actually been pushed back now. They're all focusing the main front entrance here. Start raining down mortars. They've got plenty of them to use. Like, this is where you want to really start bringing those mortars down now. GumFaction look like they are kind of sitting out on that plateau, though. I don't know if that's to bait a few trebs or what that's about, but
yeah, all the heroes and the muskets, I guess, though. The muskets can do some damage to units potentially, obviously, as they start making up that stairway there. And even when they sit on top of the supply point area, they can still kind of rain down some bombs and musket shots and stuff. But they can see NoBeaches is doing a full hero push up here, just straight up the wall, trying to pick off heroes.
Yeah,
there we go, picking up Rallingen as well, dead.
Put the pressure on. Oh wow, GumFaction are just going to leave C though. It looks like.
Yeah. Leaving back, realizing.
Are they going to set up quickly enough? That's the question. Because that is what caught out. I can't remember who, but it caught out one of the teams last time.
Yeah, it looks like GumFaction have set themselves up pretty well there, but they have managed to pick out another hero inside the C point there. Just a short sword. Is that by Alex trying to survive as long as possible? But with that many heroes on top, you're not really going to do much there.
Yeah, it looks like the muskets going up on the walls now, though, to put a little bit of fire down on all of those heroes and stuff on C.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what two muskets are really going to do in comparison to the stuff that is.
I mean, there is a couple of units that did die on the point of C there. They do look like they are low tier units. So if you look on C, like the C point, there actually isn't any high tier units. It was the main pikemen. You've got Martellatores, Pike Militia. There is a unit of Chevaliers now in the back there, but mostly just smaller tier units, just as a show of force in a way. But they were using their heroes to get the kills there. And I think when you look at the stats for the hero kills there, you've got a couple of deaths on the side of GumFaction already, which is, in the long run of things, is going to make it more difficult.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, NoBeaches, though. They haven't used any artillery yet. They've only used one treb. They've got loads of stuff, but it looks like they are sticking loads of stuff down now at C. Is that a load of mortars they've put down there? I think it is.
Yeah, starting to fire a lot of mortars. That's it. They've got a couple mortars on the C point, looking to destroy areas, but one of them's done already, so they have been targeted quite quickly there by the musket bombs. They will start to pick out. I wonder if NoBeaches in the back. They have put a unit of Chevaliers in the back there and a lot of other stronger units in the back, as well as the supply point off to the back of C there as well.
Yeah.
So they'll just sit in them away, so they're not in the way of any damage or any archer damage, maybe even musket bombs that potentially can whittle their unit down. So solid so far.
I'm a little bit worried about GumFaction's defense on the gate there, though. They've only got a unit of halberds there, really kind of covering that.
Yeah.
If NoBeaches full send it right now, they are going to really struggle to hold them back. What's currently there, doesn't look like NoBeaches are planning to do that. It looks like they're just going to be buttering them up with a few mortars and stuff at the time being. So they've got loads set up at the back there by the tunnels.
Already used 10 mortars or 10 pieces of artillery at least anyway, most of which I've seen is mortar so far. In the terms of the defence, they've only got 6 left available for artillery, and one of them was a ballista, which they did have set up in the back there, which is no longer there because the musket bombs from the attackers have managed to knock that out of the way as well. So surrounding, if you look just at the back there, inside that little peak hole off to the right of the screen, you'll see there's like 3 sets of mortars there down in the background there where all them units are clustered up, plus the 2 that are already on the sea, 4 on the sea point now. So that's literally just raining them down.
Absolutely loads, and no real pressure on them either. That's the problem. So they've got a kind of free reign at this point now. The breach is down, so that's kind of ready for an attack as well.
Yeah, so far the units are actually having to move as well from the defending side. As you can see, that gateway is actually like wide open at this moment in time. It is so wide open because halberdiers aren't going to be able to stop a massive push of that. It is only stalwarts off to the left, and they've got to maneuver themselves to stop that. I don't know if GumFaction have decided to change up a little bit and make a massive change, because units are quite far away in terms of walking there, and we know how quickly NoBeaches have of an attack. They can really just use their units and move with such speed and strength that they can just probably break through enough units to be able to push that supply point and push that area there. But we will see GumFaction having to rotate constantly. So
that one unit stalwarts, all these guys up on the wall can obviously see this from NoBeaches now. I think if I was calling this, I would now be telling people to start pulling units and just rush straight through both the gate and the breach and take a right.
There's a couple of good trebs going in the back there as well, and that has taken out some of the Murmillones in the back, which are one of the stronger units at this point in time as well, for against the shield walls and units that are potentially coming into the attack. You see NoBeaches moving a unit of ISGs already to the gateway, ready to make a move with a couple of heroes full front going forward towards them. Look at the Senji grenades going over the top there as well. That's going to deal some damage to them stalwarts and the Iron Reapers that are in the background there. But that does look like half that unit of stalwarts has definitely been whittled down a lot. That seems like only half a unit left.
GumFaction's not lost too many units. However, the units they have got now are going to be properly buttered up. They're not going to be surviving much of a charge, to be honest, if at all. And it looks like NoBeaches are starting to get geared up and ready. They've got a few sets of Murmillones, they've got the Rotari ready, they've got some IPGs, forts, they've got loads of stuff all starting to gear up at this point now.
Yeah. Instinct set up a ballista straight through that gateway as well. Is he trying to target any of the heroes that are potentially going back to supply units and heat their supplies up, but not managed to pick off any heroes at that point in time with it, but definitely doing some decent damage.
Yeah, definitely.
Another treb just being called in there from Onyx just at the back. See there, you could just see it flying past your screen there over to your right. Just hit a good chunk of units there in the background there though. That's another set of Murmillones. We're down to 1,277 units left available for the defenders, and if and they're going to now have to deal with Javelin Sergeants on top of the wall, which will start picking out even more units. There we go.
I mean, GumFaction have got a unit of Alchemists in there, which are going to be healing those units up slightly, but those units ain't going to be too much, all clustered there right in the corner as they're getting mortared as well. It's a little bit vulnerable for them, but they're going towards the breach, look. They're actually splitting.
They're a split push here, so NoBeaches start to move straight into the gateway. They've got the opportunity there. Stalwarts move forward, and Fortebraccio coming in behind it. But Iron Reapers tried charging on the defensive side of GumFaction, but it looks like plenty of units in that cluster for NoBeaches going forward, and they've got all the muskets and Senjis up top trying to deal extra damage to the defending side there. But a nice half charge.
The gate is kind of looking a
Sergeant.
little bit more solid than the breach for NoBeaches right now, but breach is starting to get a few more in number. Chefs have just gone charging through there as well, which is going to be doing some massive damage.
GumFaction have left a couple of heroes down here. There are a couple of heroes down now as the push is coming from NoBeaches, and that gateway, the breach has now fell in terms of defending units. So maybe that is their opportunity. If they can get units quick enough to reset, then they should be in to grab that supply point and look for
what
a final
NoBeaches are trying to do right now is actually clear up all the heroes as well. So they're not going straight for home. I think they're trying to do as much damage
as many.
right now.
David falls to death there as well. So there's a couple there that I've had that are down to 2 lives left. So keep an eye on that as the fight on the supply point continues with the heroes. A couple of short swords trying to survive as long as possible, but with that many heroes pushing you into a corner, the chances are very slim of getting away from that there. Also picking off the long sword on the stairwell, and they get that as well. So there's a couple of heroes down. One hero has 1 life left in the GumFaction side, so he's going to have to watch his lives when he comes back alive for this last final pushes that you potentially have to survive on the home point. GumFaction have time to set up now as NoBeaches start to reset up their units, get their supply points sorted, and kind of reorganize what their plan of attack is going forward for the home point. 13 pieces of artillery left, so plenty to use.
I said loads of artillery, still 6 trebs. All their heroes are still up as well, and obviously now resupplied. They've got just less than 10 minutes to do this as well, so plenty of time. Almost 200 units up as well. That's a big advantage for NoBeaches. That's
definitely a massive advantage going forward for this part of the push here as well. In terms of units as well, 5-star units, GumFaction have got 108 5-star units left, and some of them might even be to these heroes that are close to deaths as well, so they might even get the chance to use them if they die out before their use of the units as well, which makes it 10 times worse. Looks like even though you've got 895 units available, if a couple of your heroes are out like dead, you've already lost a chunk of units that are still not available, really, even though the screen may say that.
Those 895 units, like, some of them are decent, not all of them, and the ones that are decent are currently getting mortared again. There's a lot of mortars that NoBeaches has set up. There's like 6 mortars they've set up right there on the corner.
Very good positioning as well, because there is no way, not that they have any units in the defensive side to counter it, because they only have 1 piece of artillery left to place, and most of them ones that have placed inside, I assume would be grape shots, because they have got a grape shot looking at the doorway, but I don't know what else is left in terms of artillery for them. They're only going to have 1 piece left, and I don't know if that's going to help.
Right now, their only piece of artillery that could possibly help is a grape shot, but even that is going to be questionable at this point of the game.
Yeah, because they are blue, they are very, very, very difficult to get kills as often as any of these nice purple gold artillery pieces that you could potentially have. So they are good, but they're only surviving long enough to get maybe 1, maybe 2 hero kills if you're lucky. Because the heroes will target them pieces of artillery, whether it's your mortars or through the heroes just going straight towards destroying it.
So the attackers look kind of ready, though. It looks like they are slowly
NoBeaches have keys
forward.
In here, though. They've taken Village Watchmen. They've taken Village Watchmen up on the stairwell here onto the back right-hand side here.
So the thing is, use the trash unit, chuck the trash unit in, pull all the heroes toward them, which is what they're doing currently.
Feb them, and then
they've got all the Reapers, Modals, and everything straight going through that gate now. Look at all those big, heavy hitting units coming up behind.
NoBeaches pushing the gateway. If you kind of angle that, you'll be able to see both fights here at the same time. You've got the gateway push incoming now, and that's the stalwarts all clustered in the corner with a set of dagger axe lancers, which do seem to die quite quickly here, but unit-wise, it's evening out slightly.
Yeah, the hero-wise, we're going at even now as well. Like, GumFaction are actually taking a few of them down.
That is looking good.
That was a big, heavy hitting push there, but actually, GumFaction, sorry, actually managed to rotate back toward the gate very, very quickly there. It's kind of
There's another unit of cav coming in here from NoBeaches. They're coming on the opening space that they have. They're going to try and go around the back here and try and look and hit the units that are in GumFaction in the back. And they'll actually have the hero advantage here on point wise, because they're able to cap the point because the heroes are having to go back. There's no units available as well for GumFaction, because they'll all be coming back from either spawning or having to reset up another set of units. And it looks like red all over the battlefield at the moment in time.
GumFaction are
No
2
Beaches.
heroes down right now. You can tell that NoBeaches are pretty experienced because instead of just going straight for that cap, then a lot of them were actually turning to try and hit the defending side in the back of the gate, which then obviously allows everybody else through the gate.
Tremendous treb there as well, coming in there from NoBeaches.
Right.
We've got still
Right.
3 more of these
then.
to use as well, and there's only one place in which GumFaction can come in, and it is all trebable at this point as well.
You done, are you?
Just closing that off with their halberdiers.
Right.
Plenty of them as well. All just set up
really,
here.
really good here.
And the home point is just getting capped here. Senji's on the point and everything. It's a very strong defense, but it wasn't strong enough for NoBeaches' valiant push here with that end there.
It was a very
organised.
Well organised, very kind of just clear what to do, and they did it. I'll let you talk through the end screen, Mark, as I will be back in 2 seconds.
Okay, no worries. As you can see on the attacking side for NoBeaches here, we've got Godzilla coming up with the MVP here for the team. 3 hero kills, didn't die once in that battle, 94 unit kills and 9 assists, and even looking down the list of the assists here, you can see plenty of assists coming from the guys of NoBeaches, up to 13. Some of them there were 10, 11, 12. So they're definitely working together as clusters, pushing together as a team, and putting in solid efforts. Our massive hero killer is Ayoko the Musket with 5 hero kills in that battle there as well. So yeah, fantastic effort there. Don't know where Ghostex is doing. He's down there with 1 hero kill. He's been supporting the team that there with his spear.
He's a mascot. He's the emotional support spear.
He's
player.
normally
That's
up there though. He's
fine.
normally up there with the kills.
Huge shout out
I'm not
to
expecting
the
that
musket
normally.
players there as well. Ioku and
Solid
Fly
effort, yeah.
doing a lot there. Those black powder grenades coming in huge to shut down artillery and keep the pressure up, which is great. You know, that really helped them continuously keep that momentum, and it all kind of snowballed into that final big push, and they just swept into that final base camp when they saw their opportunity to do it.
Push, I think.
Very, 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 very well done, meticulously done, in fact. So huge congratulations there to NoBeaches taking game 1 there.
Yeah,
very,
GumFaction there. They're a bit unlucky on the defense at some points. It did look like quite solid pushbacks against them in that final push there. They did look like they had an advantage at one point, but because the spawn and where their supply point is in comparison to the NoBeaches side when they're coming in from the supply point, it's a lot quicker, and they have a very easy changeover in comparison to GumFaction. And once the numbers started swaying in.
So GumFaction's coming in with a few more purple units in comparison to NoBeaches. NoBeaches have only got a few Shenjis. I would personally like to see more, especially if they can set them up properly to target C. But what do you reckon, Mark? What do you think is going to happen?
Interesting choice, unit-wise as well, though. I think there is some shield maidens in there, but we are seeing a couple of like cav on the attack. It does happen, but it's more of the gold cav. You've seen NoBeaches on their attack. They had more dagger axe lancers, so a purple tier unit. So you kind of take a little bit more units in terms of things there. So we'll see how that works out. By the Alex is starting up with dagger axe lancers just now, though, so that'll be one of the units that you'll not see that you have actually use until you get to at least C point, looking to try and make their way in there. But yeah, they've got the use now here of all of the artillery to use this time around, just like NoBeaches did in the last round. So we'll see if that makes a difference going forward.
NoBeaches are actually holding the walls. They're just having a little scout around to see what GumFaction are doing on the attack. All of their units are actually dropping back to C, though. Again, they had a few trash units. I would have just literally stuck them on A and B. 30 seconds that buys them could be a difference in a win or a loss, but again, not many teams do that, unfortunately. Looks like NoBeaches are using some of the already placed siege stuff to actually, or artillery to actually try and counter a few of the attackers' things coming in.
They should really, if they were, is focus the traps, but they take so long to take out that your artillery piece tends to be destroyed well before you get the chance to even like half health a trap, sadly.
Yeah, I think at that point, if you're just going to chuck off some cheeky artillery shots right at the beginning of the game, is aim for the kind of highest value targets that are out on the field, like those ISGs and stuff that are currently just sat there in their big box. Even if you take out a few of those, it's
one
going
or
to help.
two units, yeah, definitely makes a difference.
NoBeaches look like they're going to be stacking up on C though, so we're going to see how long they hold it in comparison.
So yeah, yeah, like you said, they're all set up inside C. They've actually got a different position to be set up in C as well. Down in that little chokehold here, in the little small, I don't know what you call these things in the side of the castle.
We'll go with castle tower. We'll go with that.
Yeah, we'll go with that in that little spot there. But they've also got units on the stairwell to the supply point here as well from NoBeaches to the left of the screen there. So they're going to be an interesting positioning to see what happens there. If they're using that as a way of flanking and pushing in once they push into C, are they going to try and come in and hit them from behind? Is that one of their plans? You know, looks like it could be an option for NoBeaches.
Yeah, I mean, I can see what NoBeaches are going to do here. As soon as they start coming into C, they are just going to absolutely pounce on anybody that comes through that gate there.
Try and target these heroes as quickly as they can. They've got a lot of muskets there on the wall as well, just waiting around for the push of GumFaction to go up them stairwell. And once they get up that stairwell, you're no doubt going to see 3 or 4 musket bombs straight on top, as well as the caltrops to kind of slow them down and deal some little damage as they move forward. But GumFaction know that, so they're just waiting out a little bit, send their units back to heal back up, come back and forward until they get to the stage where they're ready and everybody is ready to push straight up the stairwell.
Which is looking like it's happening right now.
Yeah.
Are they going to go full solid in there though, or are they going to stand for a little bit?
They're going to see a lot
on?
of heroes, but they're not going to see units if they've got any way of checking in there. They never set up any artillery on the attack, so it's going to be...
They've managed to get the breach down, but they are going straight full force into C, and they're actually getting a little bit stuck here as well, so this might hurt them a little bit.
Yeah, GumFaction got stuck themselves in the way the stairwell. The tower was used from NoBeaches to bring out units, but look at all the units on the wall. You got Senjis up on the wall, Javelin Sergeants on the wall, all dealing damage on that push inside the gateway there, and everybody is just whittling them down as quickly as possible. A couple of heroes on the attack are down already, so we're down to 2 heroes dead so far. And they managed to stop the push of GumFaction going in that stairwell.
Massively. Shield Maidens, there is a unit of Shield Maidens coming up through the tower, through the back though.
Oh, yeah,
with the glaive player. Love to see it.
Yeah, well, good luck to him because he'll realise that his team have failed to push into the gateway and lost quite a considerable amount of units there. They're down to 923 units, 10 heroes left just now as well. And in terms of deaths wise, you've got a couple on with 2 lives left, so starting to whittle itself down here. Yeah, we've got 5 heroes with 2 lives. It's going to be interesting to
see now what GumFaction do. Are they going to just set up for an early arty phase and start buttering them up, or are they going to try that again, possibly go through the breach this time, try and catch NoBeaches in the butt?
They are setting up again for that stairwell here, but I've still not seen a piece of artillery, or they haven't even started to think about artillery at this moment in time, and NoBeaches are only used 1 so far, so very interesting choice for GumFaction here. They've got the breach down though, and they are starting to rotate heroes around to the breach here. You've got a unit of Shield Maidens going in the back there, and then they've got a unit of Fortebraccio trying to follow them with claymores, going around to the wards, the breachway. And at that point in time, because GumFaction have got into there, there's only 1 unit in the back at the supply point there, but there's nobody going to be able to defend that supply point unless NoBeaches push their way forward. Because NoBeaches are stuck inside C.
So I was going to say, GumFaction really need to block off this gate right now. Do not let NoBeaches out. Block that straight off, get that supply point, and then they can actually start acting as the defenders and stop the defenders getting back to make their way around though.
They are starting to make their way around to the positions where they could potentially look to counter them here as GumFaction start to cap that back supply point. The only issue you've got now though is that's a very trebleable area and they can't actually use it because you can't treble inside C here. So you've just got to use your units and your heroes here now to push into that little chokehold to get back into C. Because it's all fine and well having the points, but the supply point in the back, but there's nothing you can do when they're still defending the point that you have to cap. So
one of the GumFaction boys have just shut the gate for the spawning defenders, so they are going to have to now start taking the long route around. GumFaction are starting to set up a load of mortars as well. Actually, on that corner, they're going to start bombarding C. Once C falls, NoBeaches are going to have a very difficult time to try and rotate all the way back around to home base before the attacking team does. However, this is now going to show just how good NoBeaches are, because if they can hold C, that means that GumFaction cannot do anything for the home base, so they need to take C first before they can go all the way forward to the home base cap, which is currently
Hydra
totally
top right of the screen
undefended.
there. Yeah, see Hydra top right of the screen just there, just past. They set up a culvert on that tower there, which is starting to take out the mortars that are all set up from GumFaction. And nobody's actually done anything about it until now, where the couple of heroes have came up to flow him off the wall and destroy that piece of artillery. Because he did take out a couple there as he was setting up there, which helps obviously the guys on the C point to defend it. Yeah, it's just mortar phasing now from the back of the supply. And this is going to be difficult.
Trebs coming in as well, but you got to be so careful with those Trebs. They're almost hitting themselves with it.
I'm very intrigued to why they're trebbing at this point, because their Trebs aren't hitting anything and can't hit anything at this moment in time. That's been 4 uses of Trebs where it isn't in any areas where units are set up, or maybe there's a couple of heroes there, but it's not going to kill them. Like, they're going to notice that Treb coming in before they get the chance.
Yeah.
But
NoBeaches actually, even though it's a little bit of a weird position, are actually still in a very solid position. As long as they can keep that supply point down at the bottom of the stairs, side C, they're in a fairly decent, solid position here, because all they got to do is hold that C point. They can go back to that supply point, which is fairly close, and resupply their units as and when they need to.
as you were mentioning that, there was a longsword down there with his unit of stalwarts trying to go to that supply point, but he's obviously
just
faced by 3 or 4 heroes in the corner there, so very difficult to him to, as a longsword, even though he's constantly healing himself. He's staying alive for a long time, but he's not going to be able to survive that whole fight there.
No.
And do anything about it.
I just want to point out, NoBeaches, even as the defender side, are now starting to put more in that little pocket area and rain back down onto GumFaction, where they have actually.
Like his attack.
This is very strange. Very strange.
I like this. So this is something different. We're not used to seeing it very often done this way, but NoBeaches are obviously very strong in terms of what their thought process was going forward with this. And they already kind of set themselves up for this, expecting this maybe.
Possibly. I mean, if not, then they've managed to sort themselves out fairly rapid to deal with it. But they know that actually if they lose C, it's going to be GG's, to be honest, because they're not going to have time to get back to the home base in like response to the attacking team going for it.
You can see there's constant pings getting on that ballista there. I can hear them in the background of the screen.
I can hear someone getting blasted. Yeah.
There's a ping of a ballista because the ballista was on the tower from one of the GumFaction players. It was trying to set up, but it's no longer there in the corner. But they were trying to just try and pick off heroes if they could. Ballista. There's another ballista somewhere else as well that I just seen get pinged, and I don't know if that's where that was, but that was very close to killing that hero there. Oh, is that on the stairwell? It is. It's on the stairwell, literally just underneath that tower, just behind it. There's another ballista that's been trying to pick off the heroes. Well, they're fighting the short sword that's on top of the wall and breach. So he's being the bait, and all the heroes are coming towards him, and they're trying to get pinged them with a ballista. Because GumFaction have got plenty of ballistas. Well, they start to set up another couple on that tower there as well.
They've almost trapped themselves again, though, trying to get those units on the wall, which actually rotated out of that very quickly.
There's a couple more ballistas on that tower now set up there. We've got 3 ballistas on the top of the tower wall, and then 1 down below at the back here. And they're clearly trying to target these individual heroes and get these kills.
NoBeaches, I've got to give them credit right at this point, though. They're not panicking, they're not worrying. They know the game has kind of flipped at this point in their favour, because the attacking team, GumFaction, still need to get in there, break this defence and get C, and I think they're going to have a hell of a time trying to do it now.
We've got 7 minutes, but nothing
NoBeaches
moving
is
yet.
so well set up in here at this point. I love seeing this. Like, I love seeing it.
Definitely rotating, constantly using the units well, and then go back to that supply point when they need to, and just getting themselves in a position where they're not actually visible to enemy artillery or even any risk of losing their units too much. Still got 1,116 units, make that 15 because it just counted down as I said it, but very close to.
They're all stacked up at the bottom of that. All stacked up at the bottom of that castle tower again on the corner, just ready, because they know that GumFaction are going to have to breach in through this gate or through the breach, and they need to get to C. They're just going to get pounced on again. As long as they can have something stood on C to stop them capping.
The Senji Grenadiers here trying to set themselves up just on that right hand side there of the screen. They're away to start trying to find a position that they can throw over the wall there, but I don't know where the Musk is going to get good sight line to it to try and target any of them shots from the grenade throw. I don't know if it's too far of reach just for the Senjis just to kind of do anything major there, but it was an opportunity for them to have a look to see if there was a chance for it. But yeah, NoBeaches is just holding strong, just waiting it out. It is bringing them valuable time at this point in time. We're down to 5 minutes 50 left, and so far there's only been really one major push where the attacking side of GumFaction put in, where it obviously worked in favour of NoBeaches, and they did get the better chance of hero kills. So we'll see.
Looks like GumFaction is starting to get ready though. They've got units on the stairs, they've got units at the back supply now. They're all starting to push. It looks like some going towards the breach, some going towards the gate. The front gate are starting to kind of make their way forward a little bit as well. So they are going to pounce on these guys from 3 different angles. I think
nice trap here, but I think it hits the wall for the most part. The Forte managed to move after the first 2 hits go in, and it misses every single one of them. So yeah,
they are very good on missing those traps. Oh,
here's the push in through the gateway now. Good cap charge here from the Hussars. Well, units are moving, so the Forte aren't there to stop them in position.
Through the front gate, they are coming now. There's not much to deal with them at the front gate.
Front gate, yeah, that's a perfect slot here position. If they can get themselves moving forward here, GumFaction might be able to pinch them in the back here. They still have to worry about the Senji Grenadiers behind them, but if they are pinching the units of NoBeaches, they're in a position to go straight from the back supply point straight up to home here as well.
Yeah, so NoBeaches currently 14 heroes, GumFaction are currently 11, so they are losing the hero fight at this point.
Yeah, at this point they're definitely not in the position they want to be as that push comes in here. They have still got 9 treads and 6 artillery left, but their lives are whittling down a lot quicker hero-wise.
I mean, that was a solid push, and that was a well-organised push to come in from 2 different angles. I personally would have come in through the side gate as well. Just put an extra
bit of really nice cav charge here as well from NoBeaches coming in the back here of the units that came in the gateway there, whittling off the rest of the units that are pretty much available there for GumFaction's push. But because of that push and because of what happened there is only a couple of units now defending the gateway and a couple of heroes. So you've got 3 heroes in the back there that's defending that supply point. Because obviously as their pushes happen, you don't spawn back there. They're going to spawn all the way back through the gateway and have to come all the way back in through the breach and set themselves back up again for it. It's as long as the guys that are on the supply point don't move too eagerly and get themselves caught out, then NoBeaches will be able to find that supply point back and use that as an advantage.
So you got a few heroes from GumFaction still on the opposite side of C point. Most of GumFaction now, however, are the main side of C point. They've got time for one more push. Like, if it does not happen this time, it ain't happening.
If you look at the hero kills though, so far there is 6 heroes from GumFaction on their final life. 6 more heroes. So that is one push they have in them. And then after that, if they all wipe, you've got no chance of moving any more units or even winning that battle by heroes. You have to make very, very quick decisions here on what your plan is, because you're going to have to target the heroes of the defenders, or else you're not going to win a battle just by pushing full in front of them, because you can't risk your lives at this point too much.
No. I mean, GumFaction, you can tell, is suffering a little bit now because the village watchmen, the pikes, and the farmers have started making their way onto the battlefield. They ain't got much left at this point. This is going to be the last push. We've got traps coming in here as well. I don't think NoBeaches are going to have much of a job to try and tidy this up.
Yeah, it's not looking good for GumFaction, and NoBeaches had a solid defensive C, which, like we said, doesn't happen very often that you get a defense on C, but the way that NoBeaches have managed this is fantastic. The push comes in from NoBeaches. They start to pretty much look as if they're the attacking side. As this comes in, they're attacking towards the supply point, killing the heroes, and it looks like with 1 minute 50,
NoBeaches have lost no heroes.
Yep.
GumFaction have lost now 10 in that scrap, so I think it is going to be GG's. Again, NoBeaches with it.
What a great solid defense there. It'll be interesting to see who comes up here with
Mate,
the top
please,
trumps
can
in
you go and
MVP
sit
here.
down?
It was a set of units where they were just constantly kept hidden for the most part, where most of the unit-wise, they're still got 747 units against 154. So it just shows you they were just hiding their units out of harm's way from every single mortar that was placed. GumFaction still had 6 available though, and 4 trebs, so they didn't use all of it, but they still didn't manage to keep themselves alive long enough to use all of them probably at that point.
I was what can only be described as an absolute mad defense and attack, but it's worked. It's worked for NoBeaches. That was a solid effort from NoBeaches there, even though they got flipped around and onto the wrong side. They didn't panic, they didn't worry, they didn't stress. They kind of just sorted themselves out, got ready for their pushes, and I don't think they had trouble at any point kind of clearing off the attackers there.
That's a fantastic view there. If you just push end on the screen just now, just to have a look at that, it would just be looking at a hero looking at their defeat from that position on top of the tower. Morales just going away to try and smack people in the back just for fun and games now on the C point. Gets a little bit of cap points here. Maybe he's trying to look for that MVP point. But yeah, that's a solid effort. And GumFaction are now 2-0 down in the series with their final attack potentially coming up next. And they're going to have to try and do something a little bit different from that attack there. Or else it looks like it'll still go the same way because NoBeaches had a strong defense that first time around. And obviously they might have sussed them out now, though they know how NoBeaches defended it this time. Where NoBeaches change it up and make it even more difficult for GumFaction.
I mean, is there a solution to that? Just popping loads of mortars in that little pocket north of C? I don't know. Is this going to be the game where they finally figure out a counter to that? Because that is becoming a trademark. That was the weird. Like I don't know. I can't say I've defended Reggie with a house, but that's the weirdest defense I've ever seen in my life. You will never see that in just a regular siege battle. There is no way Rand would ever be that coordinated. That was on paper. If you'd shown me that map, like the overhead view at one point where GumFaction had the supply point behind C and they were pressuring from all the sides, I'd be like, oh, this is over. But no, NoBeaches knew exactly what they were doing. They had it. They, as Coffee said earlier, they didn't panic, didn't get flustered, didn't freak out. They just stayed cool, calm, collected. They held their ground, and I mean, what a display! And then to finally just turn around and punish that final push, because they were out of time. GumFaction were out of time and out of options, and they had to attack on NoBeaches terms. They got them bang to rights, and it was just woof. That was very, very well played by NoBeaches there. I
have to say, looking at that, I don't think NoBeaches expected that, but they responded very well.
Yeah, really,
I don't know.
Really good stuff.
I would never say never. I'm pretty sure they were almost expecting every single kind of opportunity and probably know where they're placing things if things fall into place like that, because you never know who's attacking. They might have already sussed that's what they were going to do. Maybe they already scrimmed at GumFaction at one point, or know fine well of kind of their tactics and kind of was like, right, well, they're going to try and do this, so we'll let them do it, and then we'll use our opportunities to kind of not be trebbed for one, which was, if you looked at it in terms of the trebs, most of them were missing everything, like, because C point is harder to treb than the back supply point and all that area behind it. So I'm pretty sure maybe NoBeaches were like, well, that will stay out of the way of everything if we stay inside C, and that's what they were thinking there. And then it also makes it more difficult for the attacking side to use their mortars in a position to kind of just be, one, not hittable from the defense, and two, get a good position to actually target the units and the heroes and stuff of NoBeaches, because they kept moving them into places.
Which is defending again. What's everyone thinking in the chat? What do you think's going to happen? Who do you think's going to win it? Do you think they're going to be changing tactics?
Make sure to use the emotes as well in chat here, guys. There's a vote blue and there's a vote red, so use them in chat. Let's see your choices. Are you voting blue? Are you voting red? That is the question. As you can see on the top of the screen, it says NoBeaches is red. However, it's the other way around. GumFaction are the ones in red for the attack, and NoBeaches are in blue as the defenders. So please vote what you think in chat. Don't spam it though, because you may well get banned for a few seconds.
No spamming. Nightbot don't like the spam.
So far, series is 2-0 to NoBeaches. It means if NoBeaches defend this one again, they will go through to the next round, and they will be progressed as the winners of this round. However, GumFaction have to pull out the bag now because this is their last chance.
And here we go then, Marcus. Well, so it looks like everything's kind of setting up exactly the same way as it did before. NoBeaches pulling all the way back to C. Even a few units on the front, just taking some cheeky pot shots out on the already set up artilleries. What do we reckon, Marcus? What do we think is going to happen here?
I think they're going to have to change it up a little bit. I think GumFaction, obviously NoBeaches is setting up the same way, so that is where they're going to have to target now. If they have that little check that they did last time, they checked that supply point over to the left-hand side, they realised there was units and stuff set up there with one of the heroes. They're going to have to do something against that now and think, right, they're set up there. Do we set up a mortar position so they can target in them units that are there before their defence, or do they start thinking about setting up a good artillery phase prior to their push in on C and still kind of do it that way around instead of going for the back supply point and giving themselves a difficult option where they have to defend their gateway as well as attack at the same time, which is very difficult to do.
Yeah. This is a carbon copy of the last game so far. NoBeaches setting up at the bottom of the castle tower again, look.
Yeah. NoBeaches is getting their units all in the little hidey hole in the background there as well. Obviously, nobody's really going to be placing much artillery yet because there isn't any counter things to be targeting or any units to be targeting at the moment. But the NoBeaches have one somewhere. Not entirely sure where it is, but I assume it's somewhere they know they're going to need it. Yeah, it's the mortar. It's at the back here, on the back tower, just beside.
Just on the wall, look, just behind the roofs.
Yeah, just behind Madchen. Just behind Captain Madchen, who's on the wall. The little pike player in the background. So yeah.
Set up ready. I think that is probably going to be used at the angle of it is probably going to be used when they start coming up the main stairs onto that little plateau bit. Bridge is going down. They are getting that down fairly rapid.
Seen a Glacium faking the build of a ballista to be targeted by a few heroes there before they start ending, but nothing comes of it.
No trap usage yet. They're keeping all of them.
See, this time they're gonna try and use their trebs to actually a little bit better, because last time their trebs were pretty much hitting walls and hitting corners in which no units really can be targeted. So for the most part, it was hitting the front walls and the rear walls of the tower, which in your grand scheme, if you've got 15 of them which deal quite good damage against units, you maybe want to kind of use them to actually hit the targets in which they have set up units, and they're actually pretty much all going to hit. You don't really want to hit one treb shot where only one ball of flame can actually hit the unit, because I'd feel that as a waste in the grand scheme of things.
Oh, definitely, yeah. The more that it can hit, the better, but it can also stop people moving certain places, which is a good use for it. All those units I'm loving this. I am loving this from NoBeaches. I have to say, they are just stacked up, safe and sound at the bottom of that tower, ready to rock.
Yeah, it's looking nice. It is definitely looking nice. There's a push coming up now, though. All the units are clustered together and from GumFaction. They're going all the way to the breach. So similar idea again as last time.
Mark, I'm saying the same thing again.
Oh,
I'm not confused by this.
Why would you do it? Did it work last time? I didn't think it did, but they did have a lot more time now. Will they set up better placement of mortars? Will they find a way to kind of get in, or are they just going to put every single one of their units all into the back supply point area? Because if you see it on your left of your screen, or on above your top of your screen there, obviously the NoBeaches units are just constantly rotating on that supply point here. So they're just going to keep going on the back, finding an opportunity in the background here, because there is only one way, and that is pretty much every single unit, bar one which is on the supply point of a GumFaction, and it is just my territory on the supply point back before you even get to see.
Like, it's thinking about it. This is actually such a solid position. I know I've said it before, but such a solid position for NoBeaches, because that supply point just at the side of the stairs for them is just so close proximity for them. GumFaction are getting a few kind of artillery pieces down on that tower. Just
it's very interesting that they've gone for ballistas again, though. They did go for a lot of ballistas in the first round. There was about 4 or 5 ballistas set up on that tower, but this time they've got a mortar going alongside it, so maybe that'll help. But they definitely need to think about getting them maybe in a little bit of a better position. Maybe they're just not target, because there isn't very many targetable heroes visible, and ballista obviously is more of a target hero kind of killing unit. You're not going to just pick off 1 unit at a time, or potentially 2 with a ballista. It's just a waste. You'd rather use a mortar for do that. But at this point in time, ballista aiming into nothing really for the most part, and they're pretty easy to target because they're in the open for the most of the musket players, and even mortars on the side of NoBeaches to just counter array that, because they can't see them. And they can't do anything about it. So it looks like though there is a lot different setup here for GumFaction in the grand scheme of things.
They seem to be changing it a little bit here, don't they? NoBeaches again though, they're not stressing. They're chill.
Not worried.
Taking their units out of the mortars and the trebs. Like, yeah, they're chill. They know they've got the time on their side right now, because
another treb being called in again, but that's just to try and target 1 culverin, and at the most part he knocks Ghost X off the wall, but I don't think it's even destroyed yet.
No, culverin.
The last one destroys the artillery, so there's 1 treb for 1 culverin, which I think in terms of NoBeaches that's quite a good trade. I'd rather lose a treb for the attackers against us rather than me worrying about a culverin, which for the most part you're not going to be able to take out that many before it gets destroyed anyway. So
yeah, no, I think that culverin was more to take out more as a counter RT, but
yeah, that was to take out the mortars and then ballistas that are on that tower, as you can see on the screen there. But so far, yeah, most of these mortar shots, as you can see them coming in, they're literally hitting the floor. There's not very many hitting units apart from, I say it hits the one in the corner there towards the tower, but most of the time they have been just hitting walls. I don't know if they're, maybe they should have like a person calling out from that tower where the units are, so that the mortars target that area rather than targeting where the bombs are. Maybe that's what they need to do differently. Like, rather than just getting the person controlling the mortar trying to find the units, let somebody call out where the units are, and then they'll fire the mortars on that point, and that would definitely make a difference in terms of it. So far, unit wise, we are pretty even still.
You're doing your teeth.
Not really going to change much until a push goes in, as GumFaction have to kind of set up for that, and it's all down to them here at this point, because NoBeaches will just stand their ground back and forward, moving their units when they need to until that push is made by GumFaction. Because, like I say, on most matches, technically your defense is the one team that lose. You know, they're already gaining the points. They've got nothing at this point in time that they have to worry about, because they have got the point, and that's all they need to worry about is defending that one area. It's all on the attackers. As much as it's an attacker favor kind of map potentially, if you're defending it like NoBeaches are, it makes it seem like the map is not attackable whatsoever. So.
The thing is, like, I think actually going with this strat again, GumFaction is not a good shout. Like, NoBeaches, I don't think fully expected it last time, but still managed to defend against it. They are definitely more prepared for it this time. They're going to be even more solid in their defense this time. It's going to be even harder GumFaction at this point, I think.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a couple of units out the front gate here, though, ready to set up for a push into the gate. Couple of mortars also down there at the supply point here, which are trying to deal some damage, because there is a little bit more units now on the C point that NoBeaches didn't really have in the last battle. So they have got a lot of ISGs though, and obviously ISGs have got to heal over time, so they can keep healing and keep it survive, even though they're getting trapped on a constant. They could just keep moving them and then wait until that heal. Sure, they get the heal, don't they, in their slot. And then they've got Onyx there as well, with the longsword healing, as well as Godzilla in the background, General Reap as well. So they're just constantly healing their units on a regular as well. So very good decisions to pick the longswords for this sort of position on your defense, because you're never going to really lose the unit no matter how many mortars
Yeah.
are going. You'll just counter that with the heal.
GumFaction look like they're starting to set up for a bit of an attack now. They've got units on the front, they've got units on the back. NoBeaches are starting to rotate. GumFaction have weirdly
You got a
just sent
three-way
a
battle
unit of
here.
Murmilons in that have just got battered.
Three-way battle. You've got Shield Maidens going up towards the left supply point. You've got Stalwarts looking to bait in the gateway, and then you've got the remainder of the units coming in from the breach and the gateway at the back here. And it's like a full frontal.
It's a three-way push. Three-way push.
No, technically four-way, yeah. Because you've got the Shield Maidens down the back.
Oh,
here,
yeah,
distracting units in the back. So
you've
you've got 4 units, 4 sort of areas of pushes. There is grape shot set up for the defense of NoBeaches. They've also got Senjus on the wall, which are about to get trebbed. But as the push comes in, GumFaction actually make a wee bit more headway. But if the units and heroes start falling as they are, and as it is going, they will lose a lot of units in this push here, and heroes once again, like they did last time. Because
they're neck and neck on heroes. GumFaction are the team NoBeaches.
GumFaction look quite good on the C point here. They are trying to make their way in better, a little bit better. They've got grape shots in the back that are dealing some damage on the heroes here. And unit-wise, actually winning the fight on the point as the Treb comes in here. Here comes a unit of cavalry as well to finish off the rest of the units. And so far, GumFaction is going to grab C here.
Oh wow! Okay.
It's going to have to pull back. This is where it makes it difficult now. They have to either go full frontal push, let some people defend that and use what they have to try and grab C, but to grab home point. But it's going to be a hard push here now. Did well though. They have got the advantage here. 130 units more, would you believe, the attackers have than the defenders. So it's actually worked well for them. In terms of units that they have though, yeah, they actually have higher tier units as well. Like there were more higher tier units available than the side of NoBeaches who are defending. That was pretty well did this time around from GumFaction. They worked on what they couldn't do in the last round there anyway, and managed to grab C with the same kind of strategy. But instead of being a 2-way push, they made it a 3-4-way push at one point as well. So I think that's definitely split the defending side of NoBeaches, so they couldn't get too many outnumbered fights, I think, for the most part.
That was a solid C push. That was good. That could have gone either way, to be honest, but they smashed that. Looks like they've gone back to the supply though. I thought they were going to just push up the back. Then they had a lot of units at the back, but it looks like they've all gone back to supply. They've resupplied, healed up, readied up, and they're starting to push around the back. Are they going to be pushing again 2 ways?
Maybe.
Right now, NoBeaches are not panicking. I still don't think they're stressed, but they're starting to think now that actually it is going to be quite a solid fight from here. 150 units down at this point, NoBeaches. And actually, some of their heroes have only got a few lives left now, a couple of lives left in comparison.
See, in terms of the heroes here as well, like just shown on screen there, you've got 40 hero lives available for the attackers, only 33 for the defense, which is definitely a lot more of a different swing than it was in the last time. So you've got a good advantage going forward as the attackers here. Is 12 heroes sitting there with 2 lives left. So you can try and target a few of them ones, get them out of the battle. You're going to have a good chance of pushing forward. Once the home point, once you start getting yourself set up on home point, they still have 6 artillery, 8 trebs, and 8 trebs on this home point is a very good amount. If they can manage to move the NoBeaches defense of units towards that kind of terracy area where the stairs are in the back, then you can then use that as a way of deterring them pushing onto the home point, just like NoBeaches did in the first round on their attack.
So it looks like GumFaction are just slowly buttering them up with a couple of mortars. They're still not placing all their artillery down there. They've still got 6 pieces they can use here.
Definitely, yeah. They're trying to target that unit in the side there, aren't they?
This is the kind of time to use it now.
There's a couple of trebs coming in, well, trebs now and then, but they're coming into an area where there is nobody pushing, so they're not actually going to do anything to them there. Like, I thought they would have waited for their push to come in to start using them kind of trebs on that area, because at this point in time there isn't anybody there. I don't know if that's just bad calling or bad decision making in their terms of trebs, but they should have sight of that. They should sight that there's nobody coming there. There is no reason to use the treb, use the mortars, and use the artillery pieces and fire the units that are just inside to the right of the gateway, and in there, that's where you want to target just now with the mortars, because it's a long way to a supply point from here for the defense. That's the hardest part about home here, is the supply point isn't the closest.
They are starting to put a bit of pressure on that gate kind of defense now, though. Those ISGs at the top of the forts, I'm stuck in the middle of them.
There's a couple of heroes there trying to fight out that gateway there, though. A couple of heroes died there. Or was it just the one that I think got picked up there? But it was a good decision here. A couple of NoBeaches players actually coming out of that gate and target some heroes.
Scare them away.
Yeah, just trying to.
They're coming around the back. Look, so GumFaction, although they've stopped, I think they should have pushed at that point. That might cost them.
Yeah, they kind of went and then decided against it.
Yeah,
a little hesitation. I think if you've got that going in, it does make it more difficult, because then it gives the time and the defenders a chance to realise you're coming, move around towards it, and reset back up. But NoBeaches have got like a kind of pinch set up here. They've got units in the left and right here, so they can kind of move in together as the push comes in from GumFaction, and hopefully it'll work in their favour. But seems that
Beaches are just massively rotating
Chevaliers
now.
and Senjis.
Look at this, they are putting the pressure onto GumFaction.
Yeah,
GumFaction are just getting pushed back, massive.
And now a Treb comes in as a push, but they never really push into an area where they can Treb very well. This might actually deal some damage to their own units as well here, because they're literally just right in front of where they are.
That's not a bad Treb. I'll give them that. That's not a bad Treb.
Onyx fighting his way in here. Stalwart trying to move forward into these ISGs here, and they are moving forward quite nicely here. They're going to get a position to kind of stop the push of the GumFaction at least anyway, and then they're going to have to kind of reset up and come in from another direction, which you can see on the, well, you won't see it just now, but if you look out onto the left hand side, they are starting to make a push from the other gateway. NoBeaches are already keen to that. It's going to make it difficult here for them, but they've set themselves up inside the gateway. NoBeaches on the defense and trying to use cavalry to come out of the gate and demolish what units were moving on the point, on the supply point here.
NoBeaches, no, they've kind of tidied up the back. They can focus on the front, get rid of all those other units that are currently just sat on the stairs, looking like they're going to be pushing in. Oh, there's not much time left for
GumFaction. Out, trying to fight himself in. He had a unit of claymores, he ran on himself on a counter, and I think he's just got himself caught out there because there's nobody else coming along to help him. A couple of short swords stayed in the back here with their ISGs, and he's starting to be whittled away and picked up by Galahad, and that Godzilla picking them off here, trying to get that kill on them there to make the evens numbers a little bit more.
Have a look at what GumFaction are doing right now, though. They're looking like they're rotating all the way around to the back. NoBeaches has seen it. I mean, they have.
They have. They're going to see that now. They're going to keep the Fort of Brasho definitely defending that gateway, and then the other units can start to rotate in a second here. Hero-wise, it's
very clever play from NoBeaches there, though. They're not putting any pressure on to GumFaction. They're letting GumFaction get all the way up to the top. I can see a few NoBeaches going around the back of them at this point, and the rest kind of head bursting into them.
You know, the interesting thing about that one is before that push, there was a big difference in hero kills. If you see now, 32 heroes' lives available left on the attacking side, but 4 of them are on their last life. Whereas there was 12 people on the NoBeaches side on their second lives, and there's still 12 people on their second lives. So they've got plenty of lives in terms of like coming back in, but if they pick them heroes on the attackers out and they're out of the game for good, that will definitely make it more difficult for their final push here on the point. A good cav charge comes in there right across the point all the way through to the units that slowly moved in from GumFaction, and you've got another unit of cavs going in the back trying to deal it down the main push, and pretty much have wiped that unit and pushing all their heroes out. Lots of units are going to push them all the way out here. Down. Stalwarts on the stairwell are the only thing there stopping any of the units is full on pushing out here, and it looks like it with 1 minute 50 seconds left. NoBeaches look like they're going to take this as a 3-0 win.
I would say that's GG's to NoBeaches there. They knew not to push as soon as they saw GumFaction come up. They knew they needed to reorganise quickly, get their solid units to the front, and then push before GumFaction had a chance to push, and they have just absolutely demolished any kind of chance that GumFaction had of an attack there. They were just too slow in getting ready for it. GumFaction hesitated. It's cost them. NoBeaches pounced on that opportunity and have just totally wiped up that attack. It was a shame. I can see what GumFaction were doing there. It didn't happen quick enough. It just was not quick enough on their part.
Yeah, definitely not. They waited on a little bit when they did make that move. They did hesitate, and we said it. They hesitated a little bit. Once they hesitated, I think that gave the NoBeaches the opportunity to kind of set themselves up and then start pushing back the attackers, instead of being the other way around, where GumFaction, if they caught them off guard, they could have pushed quickly and then tried to get the units in the back that were maybe the push on the gateway was just a bit delayed, and that's why they didn't push on the back end. But if they just got that drilled a little bit better, there might have been an opportunity where they could have had a good push on the way through to home. But very valiant effort from NoBeaches. Fantastic defense once again. Similar but different as well as the last one, and we managed to see at least GumFaction grabbing the C point this time round. But
oh, definitely, yeah.
no
Hats
avail
off
for
to them. That was a solid C push on that attack. Then everything else at the end, touch too slow, too much hesitation. Had they gone in on that initial kind of charge, it may be different.
May have been different, yeah.
But actually, GG's, both teams.
Wow.
Solid games. All 3 games tonight so far. Real solid games.
Really
interesting to see total different kind of attacks as well.
That's absolutely wild. So, I mean, what was the scoreboard looking like at the end there for the final? I mean,
that was a lot better, I think.
Yeah, definitely. You know, GumFaction had a lot more answers to NoBeaches that time, and it looked a lot. There were quite a few. Obviously, I mean, that C push, I was sweating a little bit. I was like, oh my god, they've done it! They've figured it out. But yeah, really exceptional work there, because there was a little bit of a concern in the back of my mind where I was like, NoBeaches have kind of backed themselves into a corner here by having like one angle where it's just hold C at all costs. And if that doesn't work, then what do you do? But they really quickly reacted to that. They yielded, they lost C, but they scrambled, they mustered a defense, and they held that ground really firmly. And that fight for the base flag was scrappy, yes, but very well earned, a commanding defense. And please, whoever ends up facing NoBeaches, for the love of all that's holy, ban Reggie, because these guys have got it figured out. It's that was amazing.
Both attack and defense, both figured
out.
Not
an angle you can really make them sweat on. So
suffer. Yeah,
I think it's all down to the speed of play that NoBeaches have. They managed to realize the decisions where they need to be at the right time and make their move very quickly and very early. If you start to hesitate on whether you're on the attack or the defense, you'd hesitate what you're doing. I think that's that prime opportunity where the better teams would just progress